Well, welcome everyone. I'm so glad that you're here. We have a wonderful speaker and she's going to be talking about how to organize your life by the wheel of the year for greater efficiency and flow. And Reverend Dahlia Elizabeth Wist has been a UCM minister for many years. Yeah. And so, actually, Dahlia, what I would really like you to do, I mean, I could read your bio, but I would really appreciate it if you would go ahead and give us how did you get into this line of this way of preparing your life and living your life and being in the flow of life, and let us know, that would be a great introduction into your talk. So this is the Tuesday night, excuse me for a second, the UCM Tuesday night lecture, February 22nd. Happy birthday, George Washington. And this is presenting Reverend Dahlia Elizabeth Wist. Ta-da! Thank you. Please.
Corky. Yeah, so I was planning to give an intro about myself, and this will be a good segue into my topic. And I also want to say a shout out to my friends that are all Zooming in to support me here in New York. And I also have Julianne and Mimi in California. So this is great.
Thank you, everyone.
To get started, I want to share some background about my experience with nature cycles, since that's what this talk is going to be about. When I was younger, I wasn't really able to follow cues very well. And actually, Corky, is there a way to pin me to the... I think that way it will record. Yeah, there we go.
Like that?
Yeah, I pinned myself to the...
Oh, great, okay.
Okay, yeah, so I was starting to say that when I was younger, I wasn't following cues very well, and I felt like lots of anxiety about life. I didn't have a relationship to natural cycles and rhythms back then. It felt like life was just happening to me, not for me. And what ended up happening from there is that I realized that I needed to find a deeper connection. I needed to find greater meaning. And so one of the first things that happened for me was I was shopping at a local head shop in California, San Jose, and I found a yin yang sign in this was like in my late teens. So this was my first influence towards there being like a image or a paradigm of a circle, and that something would be circular and the male-female aspect. So I wore that around my neck during the last part of my high school years. And then also my mom would take me to lots of metaphysical shops and stuff. And this is where I started to see some images from Native American symbology, such as the medicine wheel. And there were lots of feather images. And I became really curious about this because the medicine wheel can be used to explain like the 4 directions, the 4 stages of life. And I was just really impressionable back then, and I got really excited and into this. And one of my friends that knew about this fascination of mine she bought me this little book, Native American Wisdom. And she's like, oh, maybe, I think there's some cool stuff in here. So I want to read you a passage. It says here, you have noticed that everything an Indian does is in a circle. And that is because the power of the world always works in circles. And everything tries to be round. The sky is round. And I've heard that the earth is round like a ball. And so are the stars. The wind, in its greatest power, whirls. Birds make their nests in circles, so their religion must be the same as ours. Even the seasons form a great circle in their changing and always come back again to where they were. The life of a man is a circle from childhood to childhood. And so it is in everything where power moves.
Awesome.
Black elk.
That's wonderful.
Thank you. I read this when I was 19 years old about, and I'll tell you, it really changed things for me, because then I started to see and think about life as a circle and cycles on a deeper level. Now, the next steps for me is I wanted to do something different from my normal city life. And I thought, okay, it's time to do like a detox. And I was like about 22. All right, so we're moving forward a little bit. So I spent a summer and fall in Yosemite National Park. And that's where I was immersed in Native American philosophy, because there's plenty of that, just studying what's going on. The other thing too is I learned about ethnobotany and how the Native people used plants for medicine, for dyes. I mean, it just goes on. And this, another layer occurred. And also this is what determined the rest of my trajectory for my life, really. When I came back, I was also learning about the tarot. I went and did some tarot classes. And I also got a lot of readings and such. And this lady said to me that was doing them, you're getting a lot of cards like the High Priestess and some other things that are indicative that you'll you'll be able to really develop your psychic skills and power to heal if you wanted to. And I thought, this is great. And shortly after is when I found the program at UCM. Also, I was curious about the images in the tarot deck. They were so mystical, like the pentagram, the pentacles, the cups, the wands and the swords. Like, what is this? So I studied up on it, and I started to see that there's a lot of really great origins for the tarot, but in particular, like with the pentagram, that ties into Wicca and other types of pagan philosophies. And it symbolizes the 5 different elements, and then spirits in the middle, and the circle around it is spirit and unifies. And from there is where I discovered the Wheel of the Year, which I'm going to talk to you about it momentarily. So that's my background about how I got into this. And the other thing too that's really important here is that the perspective that I'm sharing with you is from my passion about nature and cycles. So this isn't, we aren't going to learn all about like witchcraft or Wicca or the history of the Celts and whatnot, because I want this training and lecture to be applicable to anyone who's going to listen to it, any walk of life. And I do welcome questions. You can raise your hand or put something in the chat. Oh, here's Julianne.
Yeah, I just wanted to support you technically. I was just thinking, if you want to be sure that you continue to have yourself recorded, you could spotlight yourself for everyone up in like your upper right-hand corner. If you spotlight yourself for everyone, then if anyone else talks, like if Corky says something, the camera won't go over to her. It'll just stay with you, even though other people are talking. Do you know what I mean? Do you see?
Yeah, I think I have it on speaker. So like right now while you're talking, you're up high.
And you're staying spotlighted. So, but there is an option to do spotlight for everyone if it's in there. And if you have that there, and if you do that, then it'll be definitely. If you don't see it,
I don't know. Maybe Corky, you can look into that because she's
it's right in, it's right in your window where the three dots are. In the upper right-hand corner. Are you on a Mac? Okay, maybe not.
I'll let Corky figure that out. Thank you, Julianne.
Okay, you're welcome.
I'm gonna keep going.
Okay.
All right. Looking back here at my notes to stay on track. All right, so regarding nature cycles, especially for ancient people, cycles are everything, especially solar cycles, because this is dependent on their survival for food and to be living. So a lot of reverence is placed in this. And I just found for my life that I was explaining to you that by discovering natural cycles and aligning myself to those, that has helped to reduce a lot of stress and a lot of worry in my life. By knowing that there's natural rhythms that I can count on. And for the ancient person, acknowledging these cycles can mean the difference between like life and death, as far as creating a new food supply and all of that. And there's the promise by adhering to cycles that there will be renewal, that the food will come back the next year and they'll grow again. We can apply this to our lives. I want to leave you all with some practical tools, and it's that we can apply it to our own lives by realizing that if we align with cycles, that there's also a promise of renewal, that we'll be able to change our behaviors. We'll be able to move forward and grow in new ways. And also it helps to eliminate a sense of separation, that we are alone. By aligning to the cycles, it's like recognizing that source is in everything and that we have connection. So now as we move on to the wheel of the year, it's a solar calendar that's agricultural and based in ancient philosophies, especially from the people of the British Isles. And these ceremonies and rituals go back to like the time of Christ and before. So to orient ourselves on the wheel of the year, I want to show you a drawing that I did. For the Gregorian calendar, the seasons begin on the equinoxes and the solstices. So summer solstice, June 21st, autumnal equinox, September 21st. The winter solstice is on December 21st, and the vernal equinox, or the beginning of spring, is on March 21st. And this is a rough estimate because depending on what's going on with where the light falls each year, it can vary between like the 20th and the 22nd. But that's our model with the Gregorian calendar. With this model, I'm going to show you the seasons start on what are called cross quarter dates. And this is a very old, ancient model. So here we go. Seasons begin on the cross quarter. So let's say we're going to start here, February 1st. This is where we're at now. We're in this cycle. And I put a dotted line for where the equinoxes and solstices are. So this is the spring equinox. And then summer starts on May 1st. Autumn starts on August 1st. And winter starts on November 1st. And then here we are again at spring, February 1st. Okay, so it's a different model from what we're used to on the Gregorian calendar. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Does that cause any kind of conflict in the way the crops grow and when you plant and those sorts of things? The agricultural stuff.
It conflicts like what, like nowadays?
Well, because they usually the equinox and the solstice are used for start dates or stop to you count from there a certain amount of time, and then that's when you start planting. That's when you start doing the next. You start harvesting or planting or.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Corky, I'm going to explain some more detail about what each of the different holidays mean, and it will come into more focus. But you're definitely right at those points, like especially like, let's say I'm out here in New York right now. We don't plant seeds at this point. We wait much later. And then the same thing like in California, there's specific times when you'd want to do that. But there's things that you do early on February 1st that I'll explain now, which is the momentum into spring. All right, so I'll start to go through that, and then that will help to clarify. Anybody else? Okay.
I have one.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi. It's interesting because the calendar that you showed second, that kind of mimics how I feel about the seasons. by February 1st, I'm like, let's go, I want spring. By May 1st, I'm ready for summer. And then by August 1st, I'm done with the summer and I'm just ready for fall. So it's very interesting how that mimics more of how I feel about the seasons.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what's really interesting is that I've been practicing and following this philosophy for like 25 years. And it wasn't until I moved out here to New York where I'm really seeing that and feeling that rhythm that you're talking about, because it's more apparent here, because in upstate New York, it's like God or nature turns on the switch in May, and that's when summer really feels like it's getting going. Absolutely. All right, I'm gonna go on to the next bit. So we're gonna look at this cycle. Now, we're here, the February 1st is Imbolc, and I made this chart very simple, just so we get it, and it's easy to look at. What happens here is everywhere that's green, these are high action times. All right. It's the wheel of the year is split up into 8 sections. And where it's green is where you want to just put the effort in to make things happen. And you're initiating. Everywhere where it's purple is where it's more celebratory or a time of rest. All right. So Imbolc, IMBOLC, that's where we're at right now. And I'm going to talk to you about that. And this will help to clarify things for you too, Corky. So since this is where spring actually begins on the calendar, it's also what's considered the first of 3 fertility festivals. We can think of this time as a precursor to when the renewal really gets going at the equinox. This is a wonderful time to start going through closets, cleaning out. It's a time of purification. And Imbolc means in the belly. So it's this inner spark within. If you're an ancient person, you'd be watching and seeing the sheep mating and the ewes' bellies swelling. This is the time where it starts to get more light, or getting away from the winter solstice, and we feel a new invigoration. So I just noticed in the last few days out here, the birds are starting to chirp. The days are starting to get a little longer. There's some movement in the air. We aren't really ready to get out of our shell yet. But as far as like purifying ourselves, starting to do internal cleanses, making decisions for ourselves, like what do we want to do moving into the new year, setting goals, making plans, and asking ourselves, is what we have representative of who we want to become? Another metaphor I love for this time of year is of a fisherman, where obviously he's not going to be out fishing right now, but he's going to look at his boat and start getting it waxed, getting it painted, checking the nets. What do I need to sew? Do I need what new supplies? So this is a time of internal renewal and self-evaluation in bulk. As we move forward on the spring or vernal equinox, we go into Ostara. Ostara. Ostara is not, so here in Imbolc, we had, this is like a lot of action at home and assessing things. When we get to Ostara, it's like coming out of the closet. We're coming out and we're showing people who we are now. And there's we're broadcasting it. If you're in the right climate, this is when we start to sow seeds in the ground. And of course, there's so many metaphors for renewal and expressing what our intentions are. And it's celebratory, like you're reaching out and sharing with people what you're all about and starting to get some initiative going there. Any questions? I'll keep going. As we move through the wheel, we get to Beltane. And this is a time of a lot of action and activity. And this is on the wheel, May 1st, when summer begins. This is the male time of the year, very masculine. It's when, before that, it's more of a feminine time. And it's the third stage in the fertility festival. So first was Imbolc, the second of the fertility is Ostara, reaching out, starting to get momentum going for your new ideas. And then when we get into Beltane, that's when our inner male, or you can think of like the Sun King, like the sun, the energy from that male is pulling us forward into action. So if you're gonna launch plans, take initiative and just really work it, this is the time to do that. The energy's behind you, and we're going into the brightest time of the year. As Amanda was pointing out, especially over here, like when May comes, we're ready to just move forward and light up. You know, everything wakes up. And that's an excellent time to really activate those plans that we're making now during the time of Imbolc. And it marks the return of summer on this type of pagan calendar, called agricultural calendar. Yeah, and I also have down here like time to really organize your plans, following through, lots of initiative. And this time carries us over to Litha. Beltane is an old Celtic word that means a fiery god. Bel is like fire god. So it's like, and very masculine. Litha is an old Irish word that means like gentle breeze. So what happens, and then this is the summer solstice at Litha. So what happens here is the energy that we put in at Beltane, and that kind of momentum carries us through into Litha, and Litha carries that momentum through, and it's in purple. So this is a time where people want to go swimming, relax. So all that energy that you put in during May through the summer solstice, that carries you through until the beginning of August. And it's the brightest and sunniest time of the year. So the symbology here is flowers and light. So much is happening. How are we doing? Is everybody following along? Hi, Donna. There's a new person chiming in. Did you have something, Julie, or you're just walking around?
I'm sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's fine. You can get some info from the replay too.
Great.
Yeah. Okay, Litha. And then we go into Lammas, a time of new activity again, and it's August 1st. On this calendar, it's the first day of autumn. What happens here agriculturally is the grains are the first to turn. This is a Lammas, it means a loaf mass. And the symbology here is the scythe, where we start to harvest the fields. How we apply this to our lives practically is that it's a time of course correction. So whatever our plans were back in Imbolc, and then are starting to get really carried through at Beltane, now at Lammas or in August, this is when we look and see is what we're starting to harvest is, that's quote unquote harvest, what we're manifesting, and is that what we really want? What's the quality? And it's time of refinement and taking stock. And you might notice as we get into fall, there's like a feeling of invigoration. That's when a lot of it, like, we go back to school. If you're taking classes, it's like we were playing, we were splashing, whatever we're doing during Litha, and now we're back into action. And that's it again. It's like, okay, what was I supposed to be doing? Where are we going now? That's the Lammas. And out here is when late August into the beginning of September is when you start to see the fruit stands and stuff come out here in the Finger Lakes. The other thing that's really interesting about this is with the imagery of the scythe, is the scythe is has the curved blade for harvest, like a crescent, and that's kind of feminine in nature. So when we see that, we know that the time of that male energy that came forth at Beltane is going to be waning soon. and we're going to go to the feminine. The next on the list, here's where we're at Lammas. The next is right here, which is the Autumnal Equinox. We go into Mabon, M-A-B-O-N. Mabon is the second harvest festival. And I put that in purple because kind of like where we're at Ostara, which is a celebratory time of renewal, at Mabon, that's celebrating the harvest. And the symbol is the cornucopia. So everywhere, like the fruits, barrels and bins of fruits and vegetables are overflowing at that time. And that's when it's important to just cherish all the work that we've done. And just express that appreciation. Celebrate with friends. Like there's still a lot of work that needs to be done because you're harvesting, but it's a time of joy, right? Where by the time we get into like late September into October, that's where things are starting to wind down. So they're winding down out in the fields, and how it applies to our life is that we're just really celebrating who we are, all the work that we've done. Does anybody have any questions or following along good? Great. So we were in Mabon at the Autumnal Equinox, and here this next session is called Samhain. So this is a very old word, Irish Gaelic, and the M is like a W. So it's for us, we want to say Samhain, but it's actually Samhain. And this is a time of a lot of activity. And here it is on the chart, November 1st. So what's going on around then on November 1st? It's Halloween, and this is when the spirit world and the human world is very close, and we get in touch with our ancestors. Also, this is the third of the harvest festivals, and it's when we're wrapping up the fields. If we were in the agriculture, you're gleaning the last bit of food, and we put everything to bed. The fields are cleared, and there's also a time of sacrifice where the animals that aren't going to make it over the winter because they're sick or they're weak somehow, those get slaughtered and you keep the food for the winter. Now, it's also a metaphor for our own lives, where with Mabon, we're celebrating all the work we've done. And at Samhain, we're acknowledging what isn't worked. So this is a great time to do like a decluttering in our lives and release old habits. Ask yourself, like, who am I surrounding myself with? It's a good time to let go of people or things that aren't working and that we don't want to take with us into the new growth cycle. And we're going back into the feminine at this point. The male reign has finished. All the energy from the masculine that it took to grow the crops, or it to like initiate our plans and manifest, has now waned, and it's like we're retreating into the womb at this point, going within. I have the note here: sacrifice to survive. And also acknowledge like what didn't work during the growth year in our businesses, in our endeavors, and let go of that. And then regarding the ancestors, it's also a wonderful time to thank. Sorry, I got some cats that just woke up, and it's a wonderful time to thank our ancestors and acknowledge them for all the work that they've done in the past, and that's brought us up to this point of understanding. Does anybody have any questions or following along?
No, I think you're doing a great job of focusing and, giving us each step. So thank you.
Like, yeah, well, I'm just checking in because we're moving right along with the.
Did you have handouts on this material?
I can I can send you some of the pictures that I'm showing. You can.
But the descriptions, like the decluttering and the letting go.
Yeah, I didn't. Well,
I wasn't able to take notes.
Yeah,
but I can listen to it again and take notes.
Yeah, absolutely. I hand wrote some notes, and like a lot of this is all in my head. So I didn't have prepare write a lecture material to hand out.
Okay.
But I can.
That's fine.
I can definitely, yeah, I can provide you with some stuff. I'll give my contact information towards
Thank
the
you.
end. And yeah, and then this is going to be a replay. It's recorded, so you can listen through it.
Okay,
And,
thank you.
Yeah, and you can also reach out to me, and we can talk about it too.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so that was Samhain. And then as we move along here, we go into Yule. And this is the winter solstice. So at this point, all that work that we did during Samhain of the sacrifice, of release and analysis, we're letting that go. And the symbol with Yule is like the Yule log, which is creating like a nice warm spot. And at this point, we're deep into the feminine part of the year. And it's a time of great rest and inactivity. And it's opposite of at the summer solstice, which is Litha. So that's a time of rest, but it's a time of play, that kind of rest. This is a deeper rest of where we are naturally wanting to sleep more, especially us out here in New York. That's like we're going into like the coldest and darkest time of the year, and you want to really hide out in January, right? From the winter solstice all the way through January. That's time to hide out. And also, like, I have a note here about orange slices. It's a time where you can slice oranges and bake them with some cinnamon or drink cinnamon tea. And the metaphor of the sliced orange is it's solar looking. So that is for us, will give hope that the sun will come back again. And then after that deep rest, is where we are now. We circle back to Imbolc. February 1st. It's a beautiful metaphor because that's like the most cold time of the year, where it's freezing. And then you start to wake up. The cold wakes you up because it's also getting lighter. And we start to want to move. But we aren't ready to emerge at like how you are at the vernal equinox. It's an inner stirring. And I just love this, this wheel metaphor. So now we'll go back to Imbolc, because that's where we're at right now. And I'm going to share with you just some more questions that you can be asking yourself this time of year to help get on track. And I just want to check in with everybody. Anything out there? Any comments or?
It's interesting. It's interesting how just naturally being in New York, these different periods of time are very reflective of the activity that you're doing during those times. I know, especially towards the end of the year when you're reflecting on the year, then trying to think about what you can do better starting at the new year. And I've also been in situations where I like the colors that you have, the purple and the green, signifying rest and making you move or give extra attention. And I've been in situations where I've tried to do green for much longer than I should have, and that just it screws up your whole internal cycle. So this very much resonates with me.
Yeah, thank you for that. Absolutely. That's what I was talking about earlier with my intros, especially when I was younger. But whenever I feel like I'm out of balance and like confused and I get stressed about life, like that's one of the things, like going for a walk in nature, there's just something about going back to the cycles where it's like this process that I'm talking about, which is like birth, fertility, growth, harvest, death, back around, all of those are happening at the same time in the woods all year round, right? So just being out there, taking the deep breaths and slowing down. So I just really love this. And I'm a plant person, but I feel that by doing this recording and sharing this as a gift for UCM and for all of you that are listening, my friends, and then Donna is here too, and Corky and Corey, and everybody else that's going to listen to the replay. I just think it's a great thing to share and to think about, and can help many people. So yeah, going against, thank you for the heart. Yeah, going against the grain. That's like a whole talk unto itself, right? Like trying to force action, and it's like, oh, it isn't really working out. And it's like, well, that's because we need to be in the womb. we need to be in a restful state and contemplating. So right now with Imbolc, just think to yourself, like, what can I do now that I won't be able to in the summer? That's a good question. What do I have time to do right now? And since this is the first of the fertility festivals, when we get to the third one at Beltane, what do we want to act upon when it gets to high summer and turn over to the male energy for execution? Thinking of the metaphor of the fisherman, what repairs need to be made? What materials or supplies need to be purchased? So then, as like Amanda was saying, when we get into the summer, it's not like some episode where we're rummaging, trying to get everything squared away because we didn't plan before. And I also mentioned like about the closets, clearing out. This is an excellent time to clear out clutter. Is what we have in our closets and in our home, is this representative of who we want to become in the new year? So that when Ostara comes and we're presenting ourselves to the world again, and if we were to have people over to our house, is what we have around representative of who we want that person to be. And another angle too is, because we're in the time of fertility, is when we get into the harvest, which is August and beyond. What do we want to harvest? What do we want to look back at and say that we've accomplished for the year? So there's the New Year's resolutions, which I'm into, but I feel like this is a real renewal. This is a real new year. And the end of the year is really November 1st, Samhain, that season in November, where you, it's the sacrifice and release. And then we keep growing through the feminine again into the season of Ostara, and then it goes back to the Sun King. The sun takes us over. Well, I have a visualization to go with this that we can all do. And then, and along with some breathing exercises. We're only at like 10 o'clock, but I didn't know how much discussion or whatnot there might be. So, and I don't want to overwhelm anybody with too much information, so we can keep going. Does anybody have any questions or comments before we go into the visualization?
No, I think this is great information. I'm really enjoying it, actually.
That's great, Corky. Yeah, it's an interesting philosophy. And
Yeah, I can see how it would work. You know, that it's it marries very well with, you know, the ancients had kind of already solved the problem for us.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like we overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It can be really, it's actually really simple. It's like it's right there.
I know, and it's been hundreds of years. I mean, and it's proven itself for hundreds, thousands of years, right? So it's
Absolutely, yeah. And then some more background about this: the cross quarter dates, which is it. And I didn't write too much on these because I didn't want it to be too overstimulating visually, but Imbolc, Beltane, Lammas, and Samhain, these cross quarter dates where and then the equinoxes and solstices are the midpoints. Those words like Imbolc and Samhain, that's really old. Those are like thousands of years old, like in some cases before Jesus, right? So Samhain, it means the summer's end. The hammer comes down there. You're done, and that's like the real time of renewal. And you go to bed, go deep in, and rest before you have to start at it again. Yeah, hi, Julie.
Hi. I was just thinking how this probably has something to do with it. And I found it pretty interesting as I was thinking that I could learn a lot from bulbs. Remember I told you that the other day? That was kind of thinking the symbology of bulbs. And, I don't know if it's true, but I would bet that many bulbs are in hiding for 6 months. you know, or maybe I'm not exactly sure how many months, because I'm just learning about bulbs like that. But it just occurs to me how, you know, probably human beings should do a little bit more like a bulb than just go, 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 and then fall flat, and then go, 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 fall flat, right? That there's probably a way of managing our own rhythms that would be even similar to that, which in a way I never thought of, because it seems like the bulbs go into hiding for a big chunk of time, and I can't go into hiding for a big chunk of time. So it would be fun to kind of look at the calendar just a little bit with that in mind, because it's so counterintuitive to our cultural way of being, at least right now in our society, I think. Anyway, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We are made to go, go, go. There isn't really a relief. Who came up with this 40-hour work week anyways? That's the Industrial Revolution, right? Like these people, that's what we're talking about, right? Corky, is that if you're an ancient person, I mean, not even ancient, but how about indigenous people today that are really living right with the solar cycle? Like it's like in the fall, like in the spring, the ramp up of the 3 steps of the fertility, and then the harvest of the 3 steps of that like decline. There's like a lot of activity, right? And then they rest. You there's a period of rest where you aren't forcing something to grow.
Well, yeah, it's like eating seasonal food. It's easier for you to digest during that particular season.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's so many angles to this.
Right. And we just ignore it and go about, you know, we want avocados all year long or whatever.
Right. Well, and those are the things. And then we have to ship those all in from Mexico and the tropics.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
They're
very
really
integrated.
But the thing is that we're all looking at is we can incorporate this philosophy practically into our lives. That's what I put in the description. As I put down that we can apply these for our lives, practical steps, so we have greater efficiency and meaning in our affairs. And that's really it.
Yeah, I think you're doing a great job. Go on.
Yeah. I'd like to take you all on a journey. I love to do guided visualizations. And this is what I have in mind, is to do something for you that's really magical. And some of the imagery, like I'll suggest that you're sipping wine or something like that. So even if you really don't like wine, or you don't drink at all, like just go along with it. Okay. So you can enjoy it and integrate all this. And I'm going to include some breathing exercises as well. Okay, so for our next step, what I'd like you all to do, if you aren't already. Oh, hi, Janet. I'm so glad you're here.
I am so grateful to be able to be here. I apologize for being late, and I'm wondering if I can light this candle for you and for everybody.
Absolutely.
I just picked this particular heart color for you.
It's a beautiful candle, Janet.
Thank you.
And you're just in time
to meditate.
Yeah.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. So this is to remind everybody that we are the light for each other. And thank you, Dahlia, for bringing us the light in this beautiful way.
Absolutely, Janet. I'm glad to be here and have the information to share.
Now, there's a lot of insight that I wasn't aware of, you know, so I feel blessed to be here.
Yay! All right, so are we cozy? Sit, maybe not laying down because we don't go to sleep, but sitting, propping ourselves so that our back is straight and we're comfortable. And you can close your eyes. I'm going to do this with my eyes closed as well, and do some breathing exercises, and we'll be going on for a little bit. All right, so sitting back, closing your eye, and bringing your awareness to your breath. In and out. In and out. And we start to think about the cycle of the year. And now on your inhale, say to yourself as you breathe in, fertility. And then pause, and as you exhale, say harvest. Inhale, fertility. Exhale, harvest. Fertility. Harvest. And now let's change the wording. Inhale, masculine. Exhale, feminine. Inhale, masculine. Exhale, feminine. And now we'll change the wording. Inhale, learning. Exhale, understanding. Learning. Understanding. Inhale, learning. Exhale, understanding. And now just release those words and just breathe in and out. And imagine that you're in a dark, warm place. And you hear some crackle of a fire. The Yule log is burning. And you're sleeping. Deep in the mother's womb. And suddenly it starts to just get so cold and bright at the same time. And you blink your eyes open and it's Imbal. The chill woke you up. And you look outside and the days are starting to get brighter and you hear the first birds. You make yourself a hot cup of ginger tea and you start to go through your closets. Go through your home. And begin to sort things out. Time of purification, an inner spark within. Tossing away what doesn't serve you and highlighting and bringing forth all that will. Making plans and sipping your tea and thinking about the beautiful year ahead. And the sun starts to call you and you know your mail is going to come and call for you. At one point, you're getting ready. And now it's the Vernal Equinox, Ostara, fertility in the time of the March hare, and painting eggs, and you come out from the home and all your friends are there to greet you, and new business partners, and you're showing the world who you are and who you want to become. Everybody's cheering you on. All that work you did at Imbolc is paying off. And you're celebrating and launching and moving forward. And now Beltane, May 1st. And the male Sun King is there to greet you. And he's so strong and confident and shining the light right on you. And you have the plans that you've made at Imbolc. And he's ready to execute them. He's ready to help you step into your limelight. And you just get so industrious. It's the masculine time of the year. The wind's in your sails. Anything's possible. Working on things, you're making phone calls. And then Litha, the summer solstice. And you're playing with your friends, and all that hard work that you did during Beltane, the momentum's following through during Litha. And the momentum, you feel so alive. You don't have to work as hard. Everything's being taken care of. Everything's blooming. And then one day you look out and you see that the fields are starting to turn brown. The grain has gone to seed. And you get out the scythe. And you look at its shiny crescent blade. And you know that the female, the feminine, is going to call you back to the womb soon. So you harvest and you taste the first baked bread of the year with its warm butter and sip the best beer. And it's time to a great activity where you're taking stock, making course corrections. And the autumnal equinox comes, Mabon. And suddenly all the fruits are ripe. The baskets and crates are just overflowing with bounty, and you're celebrating with everybody. Everybody's so happy for you, and you're so happy for all that you've accomplished. And there's joy in sipping wine and hard work. And then you sense the cool air coming in. There's a cool breeze, and you hear fluttering above you, and you look, and it's the crows. And they're cawing, and they're calling you back into the womb. The mother's here. Mother Earth is here to take you back in. And it's Samhain, summer's end, and the third harvest festival. So you clear the fields, and in your own lives, you clear out what didn't work. You take stock, and there's the final refinement. So much work. But then the Earth Mother has lit the Yule log. And now it's the Winter Solstice. And you slice oranges and smell their citrus scent and look at their solar shape, and you know that the light will come back. You know the Sun King will call for you again. And there will be renewal and growth. And you close your eyes and you rest. And you contemplate and ponder. And then one day, it gets so cold. And there's something bright. And it's the sun, and you know the sun is coming back. And you blink your eyes open, and it's Imbolc, and the process starts again. The first fertility festival. And you make your ginger tea. and make your plans and you move forward. And then at one point, the masculine comes for you, this strong energy, and you take care of business. You execute, and you're better than ever. And then you harvest all your work. And you take stock and make necessary sacrifices and go back into the womb and rest. And this is the natural cycle. And we can count on it, and you count on it. And you feel this deep inside. It goes on and on forever. And all we have to do is become aware of it and align with it by following the cues of the natural world. And I'll be quiet for a little bit as you experience your own imagery. Now let's bring our awareness to our breath again and do the breathing exercises. So you inhale and exhale. Inhale, fertility. Exhale, harvest. Fertility, harvest. Inhale, masculine. Exhale, feminine. Masculine, feminine. Now inhale, learning. Exhale, understanding. Inhale, learning. Exhale, understanding. Feeling this natural cycle deep within. And let go of any words and just bring your awareness to your breath. We'll begin to bring our awareness fully back by taking deeper breaths in, lifting through our bellies, bringing awareness and fresh life to every cell of our bodies. And now we feel more illuminant and brighter than ever before. And then as you feel ready, you can blink your eyes open. That's a good note to get ready for bed on for all of us who are out here on East Coast time and maybe on West Coast time too. I hope you enjoyed that.
It was beautiful, Dahlia.
Thank you.
It was like riding gentle waves of the ocean, hearing your voice and seeing the moonlight and the sun. It's wonderful.
Very
Good.
relaxing.
Nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Mimi. Yeah, thank you everybody for zooming on. And if you have any questions or comments, thank you, Lisa. Then go ahead and ask them. But if you want to follow up with me or give me feedback, make notes about possible talks in the future, anything like that, you can email me at dahliamandala.com, and my website is dahliamandala.com, and you can reach out to me there as well. Everybody's in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a good place to end. Probably we're finishing early, but
Well, that is just wonderful what you've brought us, Dahlia.
sure. Thank you, Janet.
And we will definitely want to send you this candle. So before you leave us, please give me your address and we will send it to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And what a gift it is to be able to just luxuriate and be in this wonderful silence, tempered with the bell of your voice. It's just quite beautiful.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this platform to share and for others to benefit. And I'm really appreciative of all the love and support from you, Janet, and Corky and Corey and Donna. I don't know you, but welcome. And then my friends in California and New York support me on this path means a lot. So thank you, everybody, for staying up.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess it's night time.
Okay.
Perfect way to end the evening.
Okay,
And
thank you
please,
so much.
just be gentle with yourselves, each and every one.
Yeah. Did you have something else, Amanda?
It's a perfect way to end the evening. I thought this was fantastic. And I'll reach out to you for the documents that you could share. I think that's something that
Yeah.
I love to keep at my desk, even just to remember, we're all in a cycle and it will renew.
Yeah, anybody that wants some handwritten stuff from me, just you can send me the email, dahlia@dahliamandala.com.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's in the information that we sent out. I think that's
It is. Yeah.
the website or the email.
Yeah, you can reach out to me.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you, preparing and being interested in speaking at our Tuesday night lecture. And you're very much appreciated. And let's see you next time.
All
And
right.
the wonderful thing, Dahlia, is you're just spreading that energy out. And I hope that, we will continue as we have these Tuesdays, these wonderful meetings where we have a chance to get together. I hope you join us for the next one, and that we just grow in our numbers together, gathering together to bring camaraderie. And
Yeah, our next class is going to be on the 8th of March, and it's going to be Farima talking about Zoroastrianism.
Cool.
Right.
Nice.
So,
Yeah,
It's
I
a
know.
wonderful tradition.
Well, it's not. That's what I love about UCM is it's interfaith and open to everything. So
we like to learn.
yeah, and
Exactly.
I'm grateful to be able to share this. So
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's nice to hear that people still like that.
And thank you all for joining us. I mean, it's beautiful to see your amazing faces, and I hope I get to meet you in person and that we can gather together. And this is the next best thing.
Those New York faces.
Welcome. I love New York. Lived in Brooklyn for a while when I grew up. When I get back there, I get the accent right back.
Okay, well, I'm gonna leave now. Thank you. So let's take off the recording. I think we can do that now, right?
Yep.
Are you sure you want to stop the recording?
And okay, wait a minute. I just want to say one thing. If anyone would like to make a donation to UCM, please feel free to do that. Dahlia has given of her time, her energy, her wisdom, and her gifts of bringing us around the wheel of the year. So we invite you. And know that you are always held and you're always welcome back. Thank you, Corky.
I guess Corey gets to turn off the recording. So to everyone, love you. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Dahlia.
Thank you.
Everybody.